Right. Very welcome to our last recording of the series about understanding economics. In this video, we will look at the impact of the South African economy on the Namibian economy, given the elections that have taken place and the coalition government formed. Can you quickly outline for us some of the most important impact that you would, given the dependency on certain sectors of the South African economy in terms of imports, specific border control or uranium, I think the diamond, any others that you can think of?
Well, now that load shedding has to all extent been solved, that will make South African manufacturing more competitive. So that will have an impact in terms of Namibian prices should come down, because then you get the economies of scale going there. So that's very positive for Namibia in terms of its imports. The impact really, the other thing is the BHP bid for Anglo-American has now lapsed, but Anglo-American is still likely to go ahead with its unbundling. So that will have an impact in terms of De Beers and therefore on Namibia going forward. The positive is that the uranium prices have been moving higher as people now put more effort into building nuclear plants, and that will be positive for Namibia. And if you look longer term, there's green hydrogen and oil and gas exploration offshore. But that's a 3 to 5 year down the line. It's not going to happen immediately.
Do you think that's short?
Yeah, that's short for oil and gas. That's quite fast.
Even if the gas that we have in terms of Kudu gas is, what is it? Is it 40 or 70 kilometers into the deep sea?
Yeah, no, you will have off-take. So in terms of that, and I think South Africa would rather have Namibian gas than be dependent on gas from Australia. So pipe gas is inherently cheaper than liquefied natural gas, and then you can also do long-term off-take agreements.
Yeah.
So you have price certainty.
Okay. In terms of the unbundling and the impact on NAMDEP, do you think there will be a period of instability, uncertainty? The government owns 50% of NAMDEP, so it's got probably less of that influence. But in terms of the value of a NAMDEP in itself and the diamond price is coming down, plus the unbundling, to what extent will it have either a positive or a negative impact?
Initially, I think we'll have a negative impact because there's uncertainty. You don't have Big Brother helping you in terms of capital allocation. But I think the large Benguela ship has been paid for, and so it's not a requirement in the next 4 or 5 years. So that's not a big issue. What is more of an issue for NAMDEB is what's the price of rough diamonds, and that's down substantially.
Okay. Then also you mentioned electricity, and also it will have an impact on the Southern African power pool price, and which countries will benefit more from a stable electricity supply, although we have not been affected, Namibia, actually at all.
Yeah, you haven't been affected, but if you go in the green hydrogen, you'll build your own renewable plants here using solar, so that's not an issue at all as well.
In which countries of the world have green hydrogen proven to be a huge success?
At this moment, it's still a pilot project phase, so it will take another 5 years before we know about the economics of green hydrogen.
In the rest of the world as well?
In the rest of the world as well. So, no, what you want is a renewable, so either onshore or offshore wind providing the electricity, or otherwise solar. So in most cases now, solar is less expensive than wind. So that's where the focus is solar.
Yeah, and given your expertise and understanding of economics, building a pipeline from Lüderitz to Walvis Bay, as I understand, for hydrogen, whether it's a toxic gas, highly flammable, that it's got no smell. How realistic is it?
I think it's more realistic for the engineers to come up with how to get the offshore Lüderitz, so building out the harbour there, or having an offshore mooring place makes much more sense than building a pipeline. Just the distances are so vast, and we have floating terminals already.
Yeah, we've also signed an agreement with you in terms of a pipeline that is going to be built from, I think, Lüderitz to somewhere in South Africa, supplying you with hydrogen. That's quite interesting. The same type of problem probably arise there. Yeah. Any final words in terms of the economic prospects for Namibia, given the big brother, South Africa?
No, not really. I think in terms of economic prospects, Namibia, the advantage is that you are smaller size, so as a project will have an outsized impact on Namibia compared to South Africa. And in terms of growth rates, you will certainly be exceeding South African growth rates going forward, as much as probably double South African rates.
Okay. One last question that always interests me, the situation about inflation, where economists said, some of them sometimes say that we have, because we benefit from the big brother stability of the rand and the Reserve Bank as the lender of the last resort, call it that way, we punch actually above our weight in terms of the security associated with South Africa, and therefore our inflation can be lower than South Africa despite the transport costs. What is your reaction on that? How would you explain it, if you agree or disagree?
No, I agree with that sentiment, and we have similar arrangements in the rest of Africa, west the CFA franc, and where it's tied to the euro, and that has provided them with inflation sort of low single digits, so the 1 or 2%. So you have 5% here. You're not that far away from Zimbabwe, where you're running at 50%. So that shows you how important currency stability is. And if you look at the mission statements of the South African Reserve Bank, you look at the mission statement of the Bank of Namibia, both of them stress currency stability.
Yeah. There is an announcement, I think yesterday or the day before, about the Central Bank of Namibia that stated that I think 70%, I'm correct, or 75% of banking in Namibia will be reserved. Is it for 25% will be reserved for local banks in Namibia in itself. To what extent will have that an impact, because it's contradicting the CMA agreement with South Africa, as far as I know, and as far as I can read? To what extent will that have an impact on Namibia negatively in the association with the CMA agreement, or not at all?
When you start tampering with the free markets, generally speaking, you have a negative impact. There are sometimes market imperfections where it requires a regulator, so an independent regulator, for instance. But generally speaking, you would try and avoid tampering with the free market. So from that point of view, I see it as a negative.
Yeah, and we don't actually have, as far as I know, a banking regulator in Namibia. We have the Competition Commission, and that's it. We don't have, but you have a banking regulator.
Not really.
Also, not even an ombudsman.
Oh, you do have an ombudsman.
You have, no, at least you have, you have an ombudsman for the banking sector.
For the banking sector,
yeah. We don't have that. And then you have also the public protector for the regulators.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. We also don't have.
Yeah.
No, so these checks and balances are actually extremely important.
Yes, they are. But overall, as I said in the previous video, rule of law is the most important. And if you think you're being discriminated against, you can take it to court and say, we don't agree with this legislation or proposed.
If you have the money.
Yeah, if you have it. But banks generally have the money.
Yeah, we the customers must be protected against the regulators and the banks, I suppose. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Helmo Preus, well-known expert on macroeconomy, and thank you very much.
My pleasure.
See you in 3 years' time.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.